Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm Scott Beadle, in for Ann Emanuel. We have cold temperatures and wet, snowy weather throughout the Twin Tiers. Let's go right to meteorologist Alyssa Triplett with our first look at your forecast. Alyssa.
We had a bit of a wintry start to this expansive system. However, we have now worked our way into that warm sector, and through the overnight, we'll stay under some wet conditions, but we are going to start to initiate some alerts across the area. From a wind advisory, as wind gusts are going to be strong into our Friday, we'll also turn to a wind chill advisory as the temperatures are going to turn back around, as we will see another wintry end to the system. But I'll have more details on these alerts and what precipitation types you can expect coming up here shortly.
We want to pass on some important reminders to keep you, your family, and your home safe during this Arctic blast. If you have a garden, make sure to protect your sensitive vegetation by bringing them indoors if you can. Make sure you're using safe heating methods. If you are using a space heater, make sure it's working properly and keep it clear of flammable objects like curtains or boxes. If you do have to go outside, make sure to bundle up with layers. When it comes to plumbing, make sure any outside pipes are covered up, keep any indoor faucets located on an exterior wall at a drip, and leave the cabinet below the sink open. And be sure to limit your pet's time outside. The school manager of Severn Elementary School slept on the school roof following a district-wide food drive. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg spoke with some of the students who helped to run the event.
Corning Painted Post Schools held a district-wide food drive during the holiday season. For the students at Severn Elementary, some extra incentives were created to encourage students to donate.
To get people to want to give, we did this thing where if we got to 500 cans, our principal will dye his hair orange and blue, and if we got to 1,000, Mr. Moffat would sleep on the roof.
The students at Severn rallied around the cause and collected 1,798 donations.
We wanted to do this food drive to help others in need and to make sure that our students get the point that there are other people out there who do not have as much as they do.
The donations were brought to the local Salvation Army to be distributed to those in need.
I have front door duty, so I see those kids bringing that stuff in, and they're so excited to bring it in. And it might only be one can or one box of macaroni and cheese, but it was great to see the smiles on their face delivering that stuff to us. So it was a great month for me.
Yeah, and it really brought the school together. The kids giggling every morning. I think we're going to have Mr. Whaley dye his hair, or I think Mr. Moffat's going on the roof. They were really excited about the whole thing.
Unfortunately, Mr. Moffat woke up on the cold side of the snowbank and wasn't able to speak with us. But he made sure to greet the students as they were dropped off at school today before he got some much-needed rest. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Corning.
The situation in Ukraine is becoming more unstable, even as President Volodymyr Zelensky gets more help from the United States. Nate Foy is in Kyiv, Ukraine with more.
Ukraine is alive and kicking.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky received a hero's welcome on Capitol Hill as he pleaded for more aid. Zelensky returns home to a dire situation in Ukraine's east with a new package of U.S. aid worth almost $2 billion. It includes Ukraine's first Patriot missile defense system, something Russia calls an escalation, and proof that the U.S. is fighting a proxy war.
What is happening now is a tragedy, our common tragedy, of course, but it is the result of other countries' politics.
The fighting in Ukraine's east mostly centers around the city of Bakhmut, a Ukrainian stronghold key to stopping the Russian advance. Moscow said Wednesday it's increasing the size of its military by at least 500,000 troops, but it may have little effect in the east.
What Moscow wants is to secure control of Ukraine. It is unachievable. They can't secure a military path to victory.
President Zelensky also presented a 10-point peace plan to President Biden, but Russia says it's a non-starter, prompting more criticism from the White House.
It could end today if Mr. Putin would just pull all his troops out. Now, clearly that's not going to happen right now. Putin is, in fact, showing quite the opposite indications.
Russia also announced plans to soon deploy a new intercontinental ballistic missile that could evade Western air defense systems. Reporting in Kyiv, Ukraine, I'm Nate Foy, Fox News.
Police in New York City announced an arrest in the shooting of a police officer. An off-duty officer was shot while he was sleeping in his car on January 1st of this year in an East Harlem parking lot. Police, with the help of shot spotter technology, determined the bullet was fired from a rooftop 10.5 blocks away from where Officer Wagenhauser was shot. Police arrested a 17-year-old male who was charged with assault, reckless endangerment, and criminal possession of a weapon. There's another factor affecting people on the southern border tonight, and that is the cold. It comes as migrants wait for the expiration of pandemic-related asylum rules, an event expected to trigger a huge influx. Bill Malugan is on the border with the story.
Mass illegal crossings during the pre-dawn chill in Eagle Pass this morning, with the Fox News thermal drone overhead as this group of more than 350 crossed into private property near a pecan orchard, then waited for Border Patrol processing as Title 42 remains in place for now. At the same time, on the other side of town, another group of well over 100 had crossed illegally, while hours beforehand, this group of roughly 200 migrants had crossed, with law enforcement escorting them down a local highway into Border Patrol custody. In El Paso, hundreds of migrants camped on the Rio Grande in frigid temperatures last night after crossing illegally onto the U.S. side of the river, many of them trying to stay warm with campfires. Coils of razor wire continue to separate Texas National Guard soldiers and the migrants who hope to be let into the U.S.
We want to know what will happen to us, and it's sad because honestly, they don't let us through, and we're here freezing to death.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott says the Biden administration has failed at the border.
They've handled the border crisis and created the border crisis in the exact same way that they were responsible for creating the crisis in Afghanistan. Completely unprepared, complete disaster.
In Arizona today, Fox News saw hundreds of migrants cross illegally near a gap in the border wall in Yuma. While in Nogales, CBP officers at the port of entry seized more than 10,000 fentanyl pills that a smuggler had hidden inside of tubes of construction adhesive.
We are now 21 days into the month of December, and still the federal government has not yet released border numbers for the month of November. Reporting in Eagle Pass, Texas, Bill Malugan, Fox News.
Coming up next, Alyssa returns with your complete forecast, plus.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Quickly, as we stepped into our Thursday morning, we were put into this huge winter storm that is creating impacts all over the continental United States. We saw that the first push did give us anywhere from an inch to even over 3 inches of snowfall, and then we had that transition to rainfall. Now we're going to focus on some rain continuing overnight, but we are going to be bringing in stronger winds. We'll be under a wind advisory through 5 p.m. on Friday with gusts getting up to 50 miles per hour. From Friday morning into Friday afternoon, we'll see a switch in those winds, still being more southwesterly, but it's going to be cooler air advection from around that low pressure system, which is going to drop those temperatures, and we will turn to a wind chill advisory starting at 5 p.m. Friday until noon on Saturday. As into Saturday morning, our wind chills could be as low as 24 below zero, where frostbite in those type of conditions can occur in less than 30 minutes. So we do have the entire area underneath this wind advisory as that warm front continues to lift north, and we anticipate that cold front to make its approach as we step into Friday morning. We see that we have still those stronger winds even into Saturday. So with that wind chill advisory in place, note that the winds are still strong on Saturday. That is going to create the cold wind chill, but also note we have those holiday decorations up. So some blowing objects of a possibility and some difficult travel with reduced visibility as well. Now, when we look at the potential of the winds, we now turn to the temperature trend. 40 degrees is your temperature at 7 a.m. you're down below freezing by 10 a.m. So in 3 hours, we drop below freezing, and there will be what we call a flash freeze potential. That means any wet surfaces could potentially ice over, and it's nearly an invisible weather hazard, which can quickly create those slick roadways. And then on top of that, you're going to pack down some snowfall that's going to quickly accumulate through at least the early afternoon. So very dangerous conditions as temperatures continue to drop. We even fall into the single digits by sunset. So rolling through that forecast, here's your push of those rain showers in place. Rolling front continues to lift north. Here's your Arctic cold front that's been creating hazards all over the United States. Gives us a chance for some of those snow showers there. Then the snow showers through the weekend will be focused across the Great Lakes. We'll work into maybe even some areas of sunshine, but it's going to be cold all weekend long. There is not any return to warmth until later parts of next week. So when it comes to snowfall accumulation for the second round, we're looking at 1 inch to 2 inches. So another good dosing of some snowfall, although the snow we saw this morning definitely going to melt down from the heavy rain that we're going to continue to experience through the overnight. We'll note that we do then fall underneath those wind chill concerns. We even see that some areas are falling underneath that wind chill warning due to thresholds even approaching nearly the 30s below zero. As we look at that Saturday morning wind chill, we're down to 20 below zero into Elmira, nearing 25 to 30 at the farther off to the west that you track. So dangerous wind chills when it comes to that frostbite. Now the winds will start to calm. That's what's going to pull those wind chills out. But as we look at the temperature trend, we're still pretty frigid even through Christmas Day, with high temperatures into the teens, lows into the single digits through Monday morning, and improvements come next week.
Why some Tyson food workers are planning their exit. Egg prices could finally be coming down, and a former military base will be the home of a Netflix studio. CJ Papa has today's business briefs.
Hundreds of Tyson Food employees voluntarily leaving the company because they don't want to relocate to the new corporate office. The company now opening a consolidated office in Arkansas after announcing the closure of 3 offices in Chicago, Downers Grove, Illinois, and Dakota Dunes, South Dakota. Employees were given the choice to relocate or leave. Egg prices could finally be coming down in February or March. Eggs are selling at record prices because of an avian influenza outbreak. Entire poultry flocks are destroyed after an infection is confirmed. Midwest large eggs rose to a record wholesale price this month of $5.36 a dozen. Some suppliers are now predicting relief in prices by spring, though cold weather could cut into production in the near term. For now, some supermarkets are selling organic eggs for less than conventional varieties. And California-based Netflix announcing plans for a new $900 million facility far from the hustle and bustle of Tinseltown. The state-of-the-art production center is being built at Fort Monmouth, a former Army base on the Jersey Shore. The company's CEO says the move will create thousands of jobs. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
A fresh reading on the jobs market. The number of people filing for unemployment benefits for the first time rose by 2,000 last week to 216,000. Economists were expecting a larger increase, and the number of people continuing to receive benefits was weaker than forecast, 1.67 million. Well, it could be a growing trend as engineers and classic car lovers work to convert their vintage automobiles into electric vehicles. Jackie Ibanez takes a special look.
Classic cars are getting a new lease on life. As engineers and gearheads convert vintage automobiles into electric vehicles.
We're taking an old car that would have stayed in a junkyard for the rest of its life until it hit the crusher and quadrupled the power.
The process can differ depending on what the driver desires from their car, but most makeovers involve swapping out motors, installing supercharged batteries, and reinforcing the car's suspension and brakes to handle the weight of all the new gear.
This is my 1972 Plymouth Satellite, which I now call Electrolyte. It's 100% battery electric.
Besides being cleaner for the environment, these conversions are also letting some cars reach faster speeds.
It's 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, and that's because of the 636 horsepower, top speed about 155.
And more could soon be hitting the roadways.
It is definitely a trend, and the way we look at it is it's just another option or another avenue for a vehicle owner or enthusiast to personalize their own vehicle.
While it may seem fun, most conversions prove pretty pricey. Mechanics also say they can be dangerous if not done by a professional, citing the hazards of working with high voltage materials.
Still ahead, the Grinch strikes again, and this time they targeted a young boy's beloved inflatable collection. How he's not letting the theft ruin his Christmas spirit. A foundation is giving thousands of toys to a children's hospital in Arizona. Danielle Miller has more.
It started here at Emily's Center, and with milk and cookies and gifts, and it's kind of evolved into something so much bigger. I mean, this wasn't like it was 20 years ago.
Fulton Homes, KEZ 99.9, and Wildlings Toy Boutique making a huge donation to Phoenix Children's Hospital this morning. This is all part of the 24th annual Books and Toys for Girls and Boys toy drive put on by Fulton Homes.
Last few years were a little rough, as we all know. So this year, I think people really gave. It was kind of pent up. People really wanted to contribute, and now we have really a toy store of gifts.
This toy drive will help keep the shelves fully stocked here at the Phoenix Children's Toyland.
It really helps. I mean, obviously we'll go through a lot with a lot of kids and families that are in during the holidays, but it's throughout the year. We use so many toys and books and games as we celebrate birthdays and milestones and kids that maybe are having a difficult procedure. It helps sort of be a bit of a distraction or a reward for doing school homework, you name it. So, I mean, the closets are never full enough, so everything that Fulton does at this time of year and throughout the year is really important to keep this program going.
Something that's very important to help lift the spirits of those spending their holiday getting well.
We create this Toyland experience where families can shop for their kids and celebrate a Christmas. And there's a lot of families that wouldn't normally even have much of a Christmas that will be impatient, so it's a little bit more special for them.
Well, the Grinch strikes again, and this time the target, a young boy's beloved inflatable collection in Arizona. Lauren Clark has more on that story.
It was so upsetting that the Torres family actually removed the inflatables that actually were here just a few hours ago. They say little Elias was torn when he saw his beloved inflatables torn to pieces. And while they don't expect those responsible to come forward, they do want to give them the context of their actions. In the Sierra Verde neighborhood in Glendale,
I started collecting them at 3 years old.
7-year-old Elias worked hard to make sure his yard was a Christmas wonderland, decorated with his beloved inflatables.
He asks for them for his birthday. He asks for them for Christmas. Whenever we celebrate stuff and we offer him to buy him something, it's usually inflatables.
But this morning, an idyllic display turned into this. 3 inflatables, including a little dachshund, stolen, and 5 others.
This is one of the ones that got stolen. This is the only piece I have left of it.
Damaged beyond repair.
This one got decapitated.
A real-life Grinch, they say, slinking into the yard, trying to make off with as much as they could. In the process, the tourists believe they tried to pull the inflatables from the ground, ripping them to pieces.
It was heartbreaking, because a lot of them aren't made anymore.
To a lot of people, when they see these are just decorations, but to him, it's something he collects. They're toys, he takes care of them, he makes sure they're working.
But despite the stealing and slashing, the tourists say their Christmas joy is not deflated.
We just talked to him when it happened about, we have the power to choose to not let them steal our Christmas spirit.
Having this message for those responsible.
Maybe they'll realize that they stole from a child, and maybe they'll think twice. Maybe they have brothers, maybe they have sisters who like to collect stuff. It's no different.
And the Torres family also filed a police report as well. If you have any information, contact the Glendale Police.
Stay with us. We'll have more right after the break. And here's a smile we want to leave you with. An augmented reality company is adding a new way to see Santa Claus as he makes his deliveries this Christmas. Niantic's newest augmented reality experience allows users to point their phones to the sky and see a scene of Santa and his reindeer flying across the sky. The web app also lets users capture the video to share with others. And those who want to see Santa in action on Christmas Eve, you can go to SeeSantaFly.com on your phone's internet browser. I'm Harriet Wallace. Thanks for watching.